Roberts, do you want to start the report? Okay, awesome.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today as we host our second annual Lavender graduation at CUNY SPH. My name is Kira Argenio, and my pronouns are she, her. I proudly identify as a lesbian and an alumna of CUNY SPH. I'm happy to welcome you all today as we join together to honor the lives, experiences, and achievements of the LGBTQ+ and ally graduates of the class of 2022. And once again, we join in the tradition started in 1995 at the University of Michigan by Dr. Ronnie Sanlow. Dr. Sanlow, who identifies as a Jewish lesbian, started this tradition after facing discrimination due to her sexual identity, being denied the opportunity to attend her own children's graduation. The first graduation, the first Lavender graduation, was started in 1995, as I mentioned, and was hosted with only 3 graduates. It has grown to be celebrated by more than 175 colleges and universities throughout the nation. Next, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Zoe Schacht Levine, also an alum of CUNY SPH and a former GSGA president. She'll provide a brief background on how it was started here at CUNY SPH.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So last year, at the end of the school year, Kira came to me and asked to do a Lavender graduation. And I didn't know what we were getting into, but I was so excited for the possibility of starting this tradition here at SPH, and we just ran with it. I quickly ordered rainbow sashes for the graduates and speakers, and Kira made certificates, and it was really a spontaneous and wonderful event that never would have happened if not for Kira's determination. And I really appreciate everyone who was with us last year and everyone who is helping make this happen this year. So thank you so much. And I would like to welcome Dean Almohandes to the floor for some Dean's welcoming remarks.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be with you today. And this is our second annual virtual Lavender graduation at School of Public Health. I hope the time will come where we can meet in person. And this event will not be virtual, but we will be together to celebrate. And we really look forward to continuing it for many years to come. My gratitude to our alumni, Kira and Zoe, for returning to help in the planning and co-hosting of this event. You led the way, and so we will continue to be grateful to you and to appreciate the initiative, the wisdom, and the clarity of creating an event where we can celebrate together year after year. Graduation was first established in 1995 by Dr. Ronnie Sanlow, as you said, and that in itself is so telling of where our community, where our understanding, where our politics, and where our open-mindedness has come so far. And I will say that we are going through a difficult phase at the current moment where part of our community and part of our population may still be struggling in accepting facts and understanding science and respecting the culture of the century. And we as public health professionals, it is incumbent upon us to lead the way and continue to make our voices heard and our energies felt. I will say to some of our graduates today, if you could put yourselves on video, then we can even celebrate more together. But this is not intended as any form of pressure, but just a celebration of me feeling secure in being part of the community today. Having said that, the School of Public Health has established its LGBTQI Student Association, and you will hear from their founding president a little later in the program today. And we have also chosen active participants in the CUNY-wide LGBTQI Council with our School of Public Health representatives, both Sherry and Velvet. Thank you so much for representing us. It makes me feel very, very proud. But I also need to say that the LGBTQI community in public health has always demonstrated leadership nationally. Many of the initiatives that you have been responsible for have been models of how public health can prevail over many, many problems. The initial HIV/AIDS crisis, but now many other crises that are perhaps more hidden, more difficult, more challenging, that deal with mental health, that deal with homelessness, that deal with adolescent acceptance, and that deal with opportunities for education, but also that deal with consequences that relate to substance exposure, succumbing to substance exposure, and other risks that youth within the community are subjected to, are all public health issues. And you as public health professionals have a very heavy burden on your shoulders, because I always say that advocacy can never replace representation. So no matter how much I am an advocate for women's health, I will stand by women and women's health and behind women and women's health, but there is no replacement for women to represent themselves, just as an example. And as such, advocacy can never replace representation. And you are representatives at heart, in mind, by skill, by life experiences, and by depth of understanding, where you will stand up for your own rights, for your own priorities, for the creativity and innovation in finding solutions to problems where others may not be able to find. Currently, we are part of our, as part of our Student Health and Wellness Week in April, we also hosted a screening of the film Born to Be that showcased the pioneering work of Dr. Justina of the Mount Sinai Center for Transgender Medicine and Surgery. And finally, 12 of our faculty and staff participated in safe zone trainings to enhance their knowledge and capacity to be more LGBTQI affirming in all aspects of campus life for our students. And believe me, at my age, with my life experiences, I always feel like I am in a process of learning, and that I am can be enriched by experiences, by insights. And I want you to know that my doors are always open to you to enhance my responsibility and to enhance my partnership with the future of LGBTQI students within the school and their participation in how the school itself can evolve. We are not at the present moment able to determine how many of our student body identifies as LGBTQI, and perhaps due to stigma or discrimination experiences by so many in our society, this is something that we should be able to overcome. And we will continue to strive to cultivate and sustain a culture of inclusion, but a space where all our students feel safe, welcome, embraced, and celebrated. No student should feel that they cannot be their own true, authentic self in our CUNY Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy. Today's celebration is just one small step that affirms where the school is at, but also affirms your own success, your own power, and your own drafting of a new future. I celebrate that with you. I congratulate you all. And as years go by, I feel more strongly that we are charting a new chapter in the history of public health. Thank you so much for allowing me to participate with you today. And as I said before, I hope that soon enough, these will not be virtual events, but can be actually in-person events. With my gratitude and congratulations to all of you.
Thank you so much, Dean Almohandes. That was truly always inspirational. And I know I'm not alone when I say I truly value your allyship to this community. So next, it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Spring Cooper. Dr. Cooper is a social researcher with academic qualifications in public health, health promotion, and sexuality. Her academic background is in biobehavioral health, an interdisciplinary approach to health and prevention. Her PhD focused on the sexual health education implications of menstrual attitudes and knowledge among women of varying socioeconomic status in the United States. After completing her PhD, she published a children's book related to her dissertation research. Since graduating, Dr. Cooper has traveled to Australia to undertake a postdoctoral fellowship with the University of Sydney at the Children's Hospital at Westmead Clinical School. She then taught for 3 years in the Masters of HIV, STIs, and Sexual Health at the University of Sydney. She joined CUNY SPH in 2015. Thank you so much, Dr. Cooper, for being here with us today on this important day.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Excuse any background noise. Good evening, CUNY School of Public Health graduates, faculty, staff, and loved ones. I'm going to start off tonight with my main premise and some singing in the background. This graduation speech is all about the importance of your bravery. And before I say anything else, I want to say that I'm so honored to be here giving this speech today. When forced to put myself in a box, I identify as pansexual and polyamorous, but I have a history of feeling like I'm just not queer enough, as if I haven't experienced enough discrimination or lack of support to really wear the rainbow badge. Even though I know that this is not logical, the experiences of many of my friends, either out in the world or from their own families, let me know how lucky I have been in this area of my life. But despite my fears about giving the speech, I'm going to take my own advice and be brave. I want to start by backing up a little and looking at the history and importance of the lavender in our lavender graduation. Lavender is a color that symbolically stands up to the oppressor in the bravest of fashions. The Nazis used pink triangles to designate gay men and black triangles to designate lesbian women. The LGBTQ civil rights movement has combined these. Thus, lavender was born as a symbol of brave pride. And the importance of the lavender graduation is to recognize all the courageousness it has taken for each of you to make it here, to this moment, today. Historically, we know that LGBTQ people have had to work harder than their straight, cis counterparts to achieve the same successes in life. Last week, my dad, who was in the US Air Force for over 20 years, shared a story with me about a friend of his who was dismissed from the Air Force in the 90s with 18 years of exemplary service for being gay, which means he wasn't eligible for any benefits or retirement. It is systemic prejudice that creates policies such as don't ask, don't tell, and don't say gay that have caused thousands of stories like this, creating the backdrop of our lavender graduation today. I considered including a portion of the speech about how hate-driven violence is a public health problem and bringing in some shocking and depressing statistics. But I know that each of you have lived these statistics in your own ways. So instead, I'll forge ahead with the bravery I'm entrusting you with. My first big ask to you is to be visible even when it feels scary, to be visible even when it feels hard. I went to Penn State in the late 90s and early 2000s. I didn't know one out professor or staff member. Actually, I only knew one friend who was out publicly. All the others were only out to their closest friends. And the lack of visibility of LGBTQ faculty and staff contributed to the students' invisibility. And to illustrate the importance of visibility, I'll share the story of one of my dear friends. This friend had always dated men, and into his mid-30s, he always thought he would settle down with a woman and have a family. I supported him in his life without questioning the thought processes behind this. Just a few months ago, he came to me with a revelation. He had been on vacation and had met a gay couple who had a child. And it wasn't until that moment that he realized that his gayness and his desire for a child could coexist in his life. It was the visibility of this couple that gave him the understanding that the combination of his desires was not just possible, but that he could live a life he hadn't even dared to dream he could live. And so next, I want to say thank you. Thank you to every LGBTQ person and every brave and outspoken ally who has come before us. Thank you for the road you have laid for us. And our job now is to pave the way for those to come. I know you might be thinking, Spring, I can't always be as brave as you might want me to be. And to that I say, yeah, sometimes bravery is saving your own life, but keep looking for opportunities to be brave. In my academic career, I have had people tell me to sit down and shut up, though not always in those words, about my eating disorder, my sexuality, my relationships, and the importance of anti-racism. I have been threatened with not being rehired, and I have been told I would not get tenure if I continued to sound alarms and fight for change. But I think you know what my response has been to this advice. I charge you with designing safer spaces. Look for every opportunity to implement policy changes and educational programming for the existence and flourishing of LGBTQ people in the places you live and work. And be visible while you do it. Be your full self, even when it feels scary. Remember the bravery of those that have come before us, and think of those that will come after us to help fire up your own bravery. And then just keep showing up and being your fucking fabulous selves.
Thank you so much, Spring. That was an incredible speech. Next, I would like to welcome Elise Ballen to the floor. She started the CUNY SPH LGBTQI+ Student Association this year, and is our student speaker today.
Thank you, Zoe, and thank you so much, Spring. That resonated so deeply. Happy Lavender graduation, everyone. My name is Elise. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the president of the newly founded CUNY SPH LGBTQ+ Association, which I'm so excited is getting off the ground. And I'm so honored to be celebrating here with all y'all today. So it is Pride Month, so I don't know how many people know about the origins of Pride, so I wanted to start with a brief history lesson. In the early hours of June 28th, 1969, the NYPD, as part of its policy of closing gay bars, raided the Stonewall Inn, which had a substantial poor and working class LGBT+ clientele. However, for the first time in the city, rather than submitting to arrest, the crowd began to gather around the police. Inside the bar, gender nonconforming people, trans women, and lesbians began resisting invasive body searches. The crowd, which included a significant number of queer patrons and passersby, including Marsha P. Johnson, John O'Brien, and famous folk singer Dave Van Ronk, began physically fighting the police, triggering riots that lasted for 6 days. In the aftermath, participants and other queer radicals, including John O'Brien, Martha Shelley, and Sylvia Rivera, set up the Gay Liberation Front. The GLF revolutionized the gay rights movement through demonstrating the state-sanctioned violence through inaction during the AIDS crisis, denouncing the criminalization of the Black Panther Party and other Black liberation activists, and condemning occupation and colonization of the third world countries. They organized anniversary protests on June 28th the following year in New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and other cities. And this became the annual Pride celebration that continues to this day all over the world. So through the rainbows and love is love displays and celebration of non-nuclear family love, we need to remember that this is a sanitized version of events. 1 in 10 gay men died in the 80s and 90s to AIDS in an attempted eradication of culture. We lost a generation of gay leaders, and we're currently living in the revival of a cultural revolution that is queerness. What people don't understand is that purely by recognizing you are in a closet, whether or not you decide to come out of it, is a radical act. People go their whole lives without recognizing how many closets they live in, whether that be the one that says that marrying someone of the opposite sex and having children is the only valid path in life, or the one that says there is only one God who either smiles and frowns upon each of your actions, or the one that says your hair should stay within a certain range of colors, or the one that says it's a dog-eat-dog world and we can't have non-transactional relationships and friendships. Or the one that says that institutions around you, like government, military, state, schools, police, courts, and American imperialism are looking out for you and your community's interests. Some people never question any of these default settings and don't recognize just how many closets that they live in. But queerness, the recognition of one closet that then lends itself to knocking down the door of many more closets, is revolutionary. And I want to echo Spring's sentiments about the bravery and just like the amazingness of everyone just here today. So we remember that Marsha P. Johnson was murdered and her murderers were never investigated. And we remember that Sylvia Rivera died while homeless in 2002. And while legislation like those in Oklahoma and Texas and Tennessee and Florida and many other states, as well as terrorist groups and media, are attempting to suppress a generation of gender and sexuality and therefore societally non-conforming people, we remember that queer, Black, trans, people of color radicals that fought for the right to live and be respected authentically, they were also fighting for the economic, societal, and infrastructural support of their communities. Pride is a celebration and the visible display of queer joy, queer self-actualization is so important for each of us, for the youth that may not have believed it was possible, or if only for the younger version of ourselves. But pride also means fighting for the structural and infrastructural change so that our siblings have what they need. I hope each of you take pride in this great challenge bestowed upon the queer and radical allies in the field of public health to not be yet another enforcer of the status quo, but to continue this fight that has already been going on for equity and justice for our siblings. Congratulations to all of our graduates. Thank you so much. And I hope we continue to keep in touch and build community through the alumni network and involvement with the new LGBTQ+ association. Thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Elise. That was truly empowering. And I thank you for being here today and being our student speaker. Truly inspirational words. So next, I want to kind of open up the floor. We'd love to create a space here where all of our Lavender graduates feel welcome to introduce themselves. We'd love to hear a little bit about each of your backgrounds. If you'd like to share anything, we really just want to make this an open celebration to recognize your achievements and recognize you all here today.
So basically we could just speak up a little bit about ourselves and okay, well, I have no problem going first. My name is Tony Ann Druckman. My pronouns are she, her. And as far as how I identify, it's interesting because I'm 35 and I still have no idea what label might fit. I don't think I'll ever know, but I know I'm not straight. Anyway, so I have had an interest in public health since I was very little, as I've always had an odd fascination with illness, actually. But my heart was invested in helping people as well. And that led me to public health. And that's why I now have a Master of Public Health. Before attending school here, I was a social worker. I am now a social worker again. In my free time, I like creative writing and music. And yeah, that's about it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Somebody will need to direct that looking at their screen so we can go in turns, because the sequence may be different to other people. So maybe Kira, you can invite people if they wish.
Sure. I don't want to call anyone out, but if anyone else would like to introduce themselves, maybe if is there like an option to maybe raise a hand or something?
Yeah, raise your hand. That's a good idea.
Okay. And if not, that is perfectly okay too.
I'd also like to invite anyone else. Oh, Adriana.
Hi, everyone. Zoe's looking at me like, so Zoe had asked me to say a few words. I'm the president of the Repro Club and outspoken ally. Not that I have to identify myself with a label. I think that's also why we're here, because labels are fluid and they don't really matter. What matters is who we are. And today I've just kept thinking, Jesus, if I'm going to speak, what am I going to say? I kept thinking about Shakespeare's words, to thine own self be true. And if you're here, it's because all of you have been true to yourselves and you're being an example for yourself and for your community and for generations to come. I've kept reading in the news that, oh my God, 10% of preteens and Gen Z are identifying as transgender. It's maybe they're being honest. They finally are strong enough to, instead of committing suicide, find help and speak their truth. And I think as public health practitioners, it's our responsibility to keep building those support structures for them to grow up healthy and to contribute to society. I mean, they have so much to give. I'm looking at, I'm not sure if it was Zoe or Elise, I think it was Elise, the generation we lost in the 80s. There could have been someone there who cured cancer, but we lost them to AIDS. And we have lost so many people, so many brilliant, smart people, to suicide and just to neglect by society. I'm just really glad to see everyone here, and cheers to all of you. That's it.
Thank you, Adriana. Would anyone else like to share? I'd like to open the floor to everyone now.
I see one more hand raised, I think, Matthew Romo.
Oh, great.
I was clapping, but I'm happy to introduce myself. I'm Matthew Romo. I'm a longtime CUNY student. I did my MPH at Hunter College. I started in 2012 and just finished my PhD in epidemiology. Thank you so much. I'm just really, really honored to share this space with everybody, and congratulations to all the graduates, and thank you to the amazing school faculty and staff. And have a great summer.
Thank you, Matthew. This is an opportunity for me to meet you in person. You've been so lauded to me by so many of your professors. You should be blushing. They think so very highly of you, and I know your professional trajectory and where you've been and what's happening next. And I'm really very, very proud of your success. And some of your faculty pointedly told me that they want you around because they think they can learn from you. So I want you to know how highly your faculty hold you, and they really think you are absolutely the cat's pajamas. So just for you to know.
That means so much to me. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And Adriana said in the chat, also your students feel that as well. So,
Oh, thank you.
and I know that from experience too. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I see Jasmine has her hand up.
Please unmute, Jasmine.
Thank you. Hi, I graduated in the fall of 2021 and decided to go to graduation in June. I mean, was it June? No, May. Just because this would be kind of sort of my last, hopefully not my last, but it's been a while. And I actually got started in public health. I took a couple courses in my undergrad, and after graduation, my bachelor's degree, I was still kind of confused about what I wanted to do and did a lot of soul searching. I had originally wanted to be a physical therapist. So I was like, oh, you know, I did a couple of internships and I realized maybe that wouldn't be for me. And after like really thinking about it and going to a couple of info sessions with CUNY SPH, I decided to bite the bullet and, you know, go in. I was, for the most part-time for like 3 years. And then as of last year, I finished. So happy to be a part of this celebration. And I say congratulations to everybody else. We did it, and it's been a rough time these past couple of years, but it was definitely something to learn and grow from. So thank you all.
Thank you, Jasmine. Is there anyone else who would like to share words for our students, for our graduates, any staff or faculty? No, that's okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. That was really touching. Lastly, I would like to invite Dean Roberts to the floor for some closing remarks.
Oh, okay. I didn't expect to do this so soon. Last call, everyone, as they say. Yes, I think we have some more who want to share something. Please, Sherry. And then I see Spring's hand too. Please, Sherry Adams.
Hello, everyone. So good to see you. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be on the LGBTQI Council at CUNY. You guys are super important to us, and we definitely want to make sure that you feel safe, comfortable, and affirmed by all faculty and staff. I wanted to give a shout out to Elise and Spring for stepping up and taking leadership roles in the LGBTQI Association. I'm super excited about that. And I'm just really proud to be here, and I'm proud of all the graduates. So I hope you're enjoying this moment. I'm enjoying being a part of it.
Thank you, Ring. I mean, all right, I'm just checking if there are any other hands up. Dean Roberts, would you like to take it away?
Well, there were some incredible acts and voices to follow this evening. I just want to say how thrilled I am for all of the graduates, some of whom I've had the pleasure of having in class, and others who I've met along the way, and some I may be getting to know for the very first time today, in name at least. And this school is so special and is continually growing and learning from each and every member. And I can't wait for what lies ahead with the continued efforts of our students, our faculty, our staff, our administration, and to be able to continue to come together and celebrate our long journeys to commencement, but also what happens afterwards, that we have alumni who go on to bigger and greater things and continue to show their warmth and affection for us here at CUNY SPH. I think that is testimony to the community we create while you're here with us, and that you've contributed tremendously, especially our co-hosts, both Zoe and Kira, as has been described, only in a small way compared to the breadth of their engagement. And to the graduates, Matthew, I knew you as a master's student, so hearing from you and seeing you here is a tremendous joy. And Jasmine and Adriana, who has graduated but is coming back for more study with us, and you're following in your footsteps, Matthew, which is truly wonderful. Again, and I can't say enough about Elise starting this association, which I think had well over 20 signed petitioners to join to create this association that is going to really lift up the voices of our LGBTQI+ students and allies, but also in collaboration with our faculty and our staff and our alumni. We are one body. And, I think as we go forward and plan for many ways, not just at the end of a long, academic year or semester, when we can, celebrate in this way, but also in all the small ways and really significant ways in which we engage in the classroom, in our elected bodies, and also, as our dean has indicated, out there in the world in the field of public health, to continue those who came before us, those who sacrificed their lives for all of us to have a more inclusive and vibrant community and world. So on that, again, thank you for coming. Thank you to the planning committee that made this possible, and stay in touch. You will learn more about our student association. It will be working very closely with our alumni network and with the entire SPH community in the year and years ahead. So enjoy the rest of Pride Month, and just with all the wisdom that was shared, remembering that it was a riot and not a parade. Thank you all for coming.
Please remember, keep giving us your news, your successes. This gives inspiration to the new generation of students that comes to CUNY Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy. You are all such an inspiration. Remember that the new generation that comes to the school wants to hear about your successes as alumni, wants to hear about the barriers that you broke, the achievements and the milestones that you've reached, and the creativity that you've infused into your careers. Don't underestimate it. It's a light that shines the tunnel and shows the new generation that a lot of things can be achieved. Very proud of you, very grateful for you. Thank you for including me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone who was here to share this event with us. Happy Pride.
Thank you all. Congratulations, everyone.
Oh, happy Pride.
That went really well.